Fair warning, this is going to be a long video, so I'm going to need you to pause it, make you some coffee or tea, get a snack, and you're also going to need a notebook and something to write with. Over the years, I have been talking about the stuff that I have been talking about since 2008. I had a website, I had a whole YouTube channel, took that down to start over. Long story short, TikTok ain't my first rodeo. And the YouTube I have now is not my original YouTube. For years, I have been telling women, please do not fully remain financially dependent on a man. It is the most dangerous thing that you can do. And time after time, the number one thing that women will tell me is, well, if something happens, I will just do what I have to do to make sure that me and my kids survive. Where's my crown and my flowers? And while that is absolutely beautiful, and there is no doubt in my mind that you would not, in fact, do what you had to do to make sure that you and your kids were okay. There's nothing motivational, beautiful, or fun about it when you're in the midst of it. It is actually very scary, and there are some women who have gotten their kids taken away from them because they couldn't keep a roof over their heads. There are some women who have had to be in dangerous situations in order to get money to keep a roof over their kids' heads, which leads to situations where their kids could and have gotten taken away from them. There are some women who couldn't afford to leave. They didn't have a plan. So they wound up getting abused and passing that trauma down to their children, who also got abused, or at the very least had to watch them get abused. And there are some women who were actually killed by their husbands, and now their kids are getting abused by said men. I realize I can't help everybody. I'm not trying to. I want to help those who want to be helped. Also, the examples and the numbers that I give you, they're just general numbers. Don't get hung up on them and argue in the comments about, shoot, it's more in my state. It's actually this. I know there's going to be nuance. Adjust it on your notebook. That's totally fine. Stay focused with me, okay? Also, don't get hung up on telling me that you forgot to add this and you forgot to add that. Make your own fucking video. Again, stay focused, okay? Now, let's dive into some numbers. General numbers for if you needed to leave at the drop of a hat and support yourself and your kids for whatever reason that caused it. Some of you might say, well, I'll just live with my family member, or I'll just live with my best friend. Are you sure? Can you bet your life on that? Because there are some people that love you, but they are not in a position for you to be able to live with them. They might live at a place that won't allow a certain number of guests. They might not be financially able to extend that to you, or they might live in a really small place already with kids and a family of their own, and they just don't have room for you to accommodate you. And some people just don't want to be involved in that kind of drama. So you might think they will allow you to live with them, but they really won't. And even if they do make a way and allow it, their expenses are going to go up. Your kids might break something. They might kick you out. You might decide that you can't stay there anymore because it's just getting on your nerves. Anyway, let's get to the point. Can you afford to stay in a hotel for bare minimum a month? Again, do not get hung up on the numbers that I'm giving. I'm generalizing. I don't know where you live. It might be more or less. Calm down. Stay with me here. Okay, bare minimum. We're not talking about Holiday Inn or the Ritz-Carlton. Cheapest hotel you can find is $80 a night. Okay, do you have at least $2,500 to stay in a hotel for a month? Okay, now you gotta eat. So you get some snacks that you guys can eat for breakfast. You can snack for lunch, get some stuff that doesn't have to be refrigerated. You could have a kitchenette, but that's going to cost you more. But we're going to stay with this example. So you snack all day, you eat a honey bun for breakfast in the morning, whatever the case may be, and you're going to DoorDash food at night. So total, this is just a base number, just a guess, $1,800 a month on top of the $2,500 you're spending to stay in a hotel. All right, so that's the first month. Again, I know these examples could be more or less depending on where you live. Stay with me here, Susan. Okay, basic apartment, $2,000. You're gonna need security deposit, $250. Admin fee, $50. I know it could be more or less. Save your fucking comment. Stay with me. First and last month's rent, so you're gonna need an extra $2,000. Plus you're gonna need all your furniture, food, and everything to fill up that apartment. So you're gonna spend, we're just gonna say an extra $1,500. If you have a car, great. If you do not have a car, because you don't have a payment history, you don't have any check stubs, they're going to require you to either pay a down payment or have somebody to co-sign for you. People are really funny about co-signing for people. So let's say you have to pay that down payment. We're just going to say $2,500 because you don't want a ridiculously high monthly payment. So just minimum. Don't get hung up on the number. Calm down. $2,500. You're going to have to get full coverage insurance. Trust me, I've been in a car accident with only liability. It's not fun. So we're going to say that's $250 minimum. Registration, we're just going to say $100. The gas for the month, we're just going to say $150. I know it could be more. Save your comment. You got to pay your phone bill. We're just going to say it's $100. You got to get the lights turned on in said apartment. You might have to pay a down payment because you don't have a payment history. You don't really have any credit. So we're just going to say $200 to get your lights turned on. Wait a minute. You still haven't secured a job yet. Time is going by quickly. You got to pay next month's bills. $2,000 for rent, $150 for lights, $500 for food, $250 for your car note, $160 for gas, plus $250 for your insurance, $100 for your phone bill, and $300 for whatever miscellaneous expenses and charges that you might have. How are you going to get that? Because even if you do get a job, it could take 2 to 3 weeks before you get your first check, and longer than that before you get your first full check, because some companies, when they train you, they don't have you stay the whole 40 hours a week. So now you need to start the divorce, and you need to get a lawyer, and you really don't want to go through legal aid. You want to hurry up and get the ball rolling. So you go to a lawyer, they listen to your sad story, and they say, oh, that's tough, I'm so sorry. To retain me, it's going to be $10,000. Plus, this is how much I charge for phone calls. This is how much I charge for emails. This is how much I charge for filing anything. And this is how much I charge to mail anything. And you're like, wait, I gave up my job to support my husband because I love him. And they're going to say, oh, I'm so sorry to hear that, sweetie, but I can't give you any legal advice. Have you tried legal aid? Maybe you just bite the bullet and go through legal aid. Or you beg and borrow from a family member and they help you get that lawyer after bitching and complaining and making you feel like a complete fucking idiot for asking. It's going to take you about 3 to 6 months to get an actual court date. So you're not going to get child support, despite the fact that you've been telling people for years, if anything happens with my husband, I'll just put him on child support. Not so easy, huh? So it's going to take you 3 to 6 months to get a court date. And then once you get that court date, it might require mediation. It might require renegotiation, which is just going to cost you more money if you didn't go through legal aid and you have to get an actual lawyer. So now you're going to have to cry and beg to get more money or figure it out or possibly lose your lawyer, which could happen because you're going to pay them their money. Okay? So now it's been a year. Negotiation's been done. Mediation has been done. This is the child support he has to pay. He has to pay alimony. And then this man that used to be super duper hardworking gets himself fired because he doesn't want to pay those things. And now he's working under the table and you can't track any of his money. You can't find him to serve him. You can't afford to keep going back and forth to court. So now you're basically not getting paid any child support and you're not getting paid any alimony. And now everything is on you. And I get it. You can just take him to court again. Okay? Now you're going to have to take time off from work and figure out how to file this shit yourself. And then he's still not going to pay it. I did round on some of these to leave wiggle room in case things come up, and things always come up. So let's say you get a lawyer through legal aid. Do you have $20,000 to survive for 3 months with just you and your kids? Okay, let's say that you do get a lawyer and you pay it out of pocket. Do you have $40,000 to survive for 3 months with you and your kids? Let's say you don't have to buy a new car, you've got a car, and you get a lawyer through legal aid. Do you have at least $17,000 to survive for 3 months with you and your 2 kids? Let's say you don't need a car because you have one, but you also need a lawyer. Do you have about $37,000 to survive for 3 months? How long is it going to take you to save that? This beautiful Disneyland idea of simply picking yourself up by the bootstraps and doing what you have to do is going to cost you $20,000 to $40,000. Doesn't sound so fun and motivational, does it? And you could go through your state and apply for whatever programs and benefits they have for you. But what you didn't take into consideration is waiting lists and the fact that you might not qualify for every single thing that you think you qualify for, because it takes very little to not qualify for benefits. Trust me, as someone who's gone through it before, I know. And unfortunately, this list is why a lot of women choose to stay with abusers and cheaters.